2, 3. Feeling like a rock star.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jelelle Awen, and this is day 24 of 33 days with me. So we're moving along here, and I'm sort of touching on certain themes and aspects of the soulful heart process and way of life as I'm going along. And one that I've been mentioning, almost little teasers here and there, is the gatekeeper. So this part of us that is just so magical as it opens out and we connect with it. So I wanted to dedicate this video to the gatekeeper. And it may not be an energy that you connect with right away. It's usually farther down in the process after you've met and connected with more of what we call your 3D protector, which I've offered a guided meditation and a letter writing process and some journaling questions. And I'll link to those videos. I believe it's day 6 and day 15. So the gatekeeper emerges after some process time with the 3D protector. But I'm gonna read this piece, this short, I would say, plea from a gatekeeper, and then I will talk some more about them. I am here, waiting for you to see me and feel me, waiting for you to get how much I have done for you, waiting for you to understand what I am here to offer you, waiting for you to remember why you are here and what your purpose is. I am here, waiting for you to love me as I have loved you, waiting for you to pick up the signals and signs that I am leaving you, waiting for you to connect that what you feel in your body is often me causing you pain or illness or disease to get your attention, waiting for you to heal your heart in order to let in love. I am here, waiting for you to love me as I have loved you. So this, to me, was what a gatekeeper would say to you. What your gatekeeper would say to you is, I've been waiting for you. And I'm waiting for a connection with you. I'm waiting to wake up to our love for each other, so that I can then wake you up to your Metasoul. So just as a reminder, I did a video talking about Metasoul. And what I feel Metasoul is our individuated soul source way up there in a higher dimension. And it's from this individuated soul source, which you could also call your higher self, if you wanted to, in which all of these aspects are projected out of, the fractal out of, and then expressed in all these different timelines. My picture is that we each have our own Metasoul, that we don't share one with somebody else. So this is a bit different picture than the twin flame, where you share one, there's a feminine masculine aspect, and then sometimes they reincarnate into the same lifetime. And it's different. It differs from the monad or oversoul picture, in which sometimes thousands of people share the same oversoul. I see it more, and maybe I'm just feeling something that's a bit more downstream from the oversoul picture. I like to feel it as my Metasoul, and that I don't share it with anyone else, because it allows for more intimacy. it allows for a personal connection to these aspects from the same Metasoul as me. So we often call them Metasoul sisters or brothers. And as these Metasoul sisters of mine wake up, or as yours do, there's this gift exchange that happens where you get access to these higher dimensional consciousness states that they have, and you also help them heal karma from their timeline if that's what they're experiencing. So it's this beautiful exchange that happens, and the main way that this exchange starts to happen is through connection with the gatekeeper. So I know some people call themselves gatekeepers in terms of the ascension process. You know, some people are light workers, grid workers, gatekeepers. I'm referring to something different. So this is an energy that is in your Metasoul. I'm just speaking generally. It feels like it. You can see for yourself if it feels true or not. And I want to say I connected with this energy in 2008 when I had just left the spiritual group that I was in for many years and really going through a dark night. I just felt, parts of me felt in so much despair and so much sense of like hopelessness and what was my soul purpose now and what was I going to do now. And I felt this energy. I became very aware of this energy on the right side of my body. And it was so clearly not in my body. It wasn't a part of that way. It wasn't an emotional body part. It wasn't connected to 3D. It was multidimensional and etheric. So, and it didn't feel like a guardian angel or a archangel or spirit guide exactly. It felt much more intense than that and protective of me and very loyal and vigilant. And I hadn't quite felt an energy like it before. So I called it, at that time, I ran across the name daemon, which originally Socrates used to describe a guiding light or a muse. Certainly not demonic in any way. But I used the word daemon then for many years in working with people, and we would connect to their daemons. And it was actually amazing at how universal this energy was. And I've learned a lot about this aspect, let's call it that, since then. I primarily learned about it, honestly, somewhat through my own work, although leading this, mine tends to be a lot more muddy, my process. It takes a lot longer, and I'm not always putting pieces together. It's a lot easier for me to see it in somebody else's process. So really it's been Gabriel, Kalena, and Raphael and their work with their gatekeepers that has illuminated a lot of this for us, and as a collaboration in our community. We're noticing certain things. So we started calling it the Gatekeeper because it was so clear that this was the aspect of the Metasoul that was responsible for all of the timelines. Whenever I feel a gatekeeper, I seem to always see this chamber and a whole bunch of doors. And sometimes they're arched like this, so you could see your gatekeeper standing, and then there's a bunch of doors behind them. Or they show me a hallway, and there's a whole bunch of doors along the hallway. Behind these doors are the timelines of your Metasoul. Past lives, you could say, although they're not past. So we say other lifetimes, other timelines. And we say Metasoul aspects instead of past lives to allow for some more objectivity and separation. And because they really do feel that way, when you connect with them, they don't feel like you and how you've identified yourself. But the Metasoul aspects do feel familiar and like sisters are brothers to you. So there's this tone that, and maybe if you've done some past life work, then you know what I mean, or you've felt this yourself, there's this familiarity, but there's this foreignness too, because they live in such a different timeline than we do. They live in such different realities than we do. So you could picture the gatekeeper or feel the gatekeeper. I almost see them as like a warden in the beginning, where they've got this, often, I've even seen ones that literally have big key rings, like jangling from the side of their belts there, and each key opens a door to the Metasoul aspects. They often, it seems like always, I'm going to say, have disconnected from divine source. They have disconnected from other gatekeepers. They have often disconnected even from the Metasoul aspects. So they're very much in this lonely place of wandering in their, not wandering out, they stay very loyal to the Metasoul. You could call it your Metasoul portal if you want to. They maintain the veil. We could call them veil keepers. We might change that one because it's less gates than it is the veil. The thing is though, is that the veils, they keep the veil of amnesia over all these timelines of your Metasoul until you're ready to remember. And the main way that the gatekeeper feels that you're ready to remember is your emotional maturity and self-love. That you have enough emotional maturity and self-love, you have enough you there, basically, to hold what these timelines offer you. So the gatekeeper often, when you first start connecting with them, say, I don't know if you're ready for this. And they don't want to go feel it. Because, some of these doorways, behind some of these doorways is probably some dark things. Some heavy things, some karmic things where you may have been a perpetrator of things, you may have abused other people, you probably did. I'm saying you, but really I'm meaning your Metasoul. So you probably have Metasoul brothers and sisters that have been on the perpetrator side and are on the victim side, so to speak, as well. And often the gatekeeper is overwhelmed by the bleed-throughs, we could call them, that are happening from these Metasoul aspects. And a lot of times they're what we call fused to these energies. So a gatekeeper, for example, might show up with a very strong Roman energy about them. You can feel a lot of ancient Rome, and they may even dress that way. And then as you get to know, as you connect with them, then you realize, wait, there's a Metasoul aspect of mine that lives in the ancient Rome timeline. So you realize this, you help the gatekeeper. One of the pieces that happens in this connection is you're helping your gatekeeper separate from the Metasoul aspects so that they can start feeling like they are a separate energy, that they do have a purpose. And the purpose is long-term and related to ascension, is not anymore to keep the veil in place. They do an amazing job at that. And really lonely, and they've been doing that for, we don't have time for that. I mean, we can't even imagine how long they've been doing that. So they've done their job up until now. It's just that the mission is changing. I feel like I'm talking to gatekeepers right now as I'm saying this. So your mission has changed. It's no longer about keeping the veil in place and keeping those doors shut, but actually starting to be a channel, starting for divine love, and a channel for you, the person, to start accessing these other timelines, to start opening your doors, to start remembering. So as you work with the gatekeeper through our process, they begin to really trust you more and more, and realize, wow, there's actually a person here. There's a 5D, we could call it, a 5D self showing up that really wants to know and understand and integrate their Metasoul aspects. It's really, I just want to say, it's not so much an integration, I'm finding, as it is a unification. So let's go back to that ancient Rome Metasoul. And let's say you meet your gatekeeper. It takes some negotiation, honestly. It takes the time it takes with them before they feel ready to start opening doors. Sometimes they kind of fling the doors open, and all this, and a timeline will flood into your being, and it's almost like they're testing you. They may do this through dreams. They may do this through having you watch a movie. If you're drawn to any kind of historical movies, or star being, science fiction, any of that, that is your Metasoul. I can promise you. So if you're really drawn to watching movies about ancient Rome, you have a Metasoul aspect that is in that timeline. Because there are no coincidences here. There's a reason that you're drawn. And so the gatekeeper may draw you to these things, and you may feel a whole bunch of things too. You may have a lot of emotions come up, but you don't understand what's going on and why you're feeling that way. And until you connect with the gatekeeper consciously, then you can negotiate how you're going to do this, and how you're going to walk it out, and what you want to feel, and when. Some of the more intense timelines where there's a lot of karma going on, I hold a pretty surrendered energy about my process at this point, so I feel like divine timing. These deeper karmic pieces will unfold when they're meant to. And I want to say too, after many years of connecting with various gatekeeper aspects of myself, and they were all masculine. That varies depending on the person, but usually the gatekeepers are masculine, along with the 3D protectors as well. They were all masculine, I think, until 2012 or something like that. And then the gatekeeper, what I was calling a daemon at the time, transmuted to more of a feminine energy. And then after that, it was all Metasoul aspects coming through. It took me a while to realize that that's what it was. I kind of still called them a daemon, and I didn't really know how to be with past lives. I knew past life never resonated for me. I never felt they were past. They were so present, and there was so much emotional charge, and I could see and feel the timeline so viscerally. I could really feel they were in their own dimensional frequency, and that they were as alive and happening as what I was experiencing in my reality. You know, I've talked about it before, but an aspect of this was my awakening in this life to my third eye, coming in with that, and also my imagination that I never shut down, as most people do. I have a very active imagination, which was really about multidimensional access, right? So once my gatekeeper, that energy rested, then I had free access to my Metasoul, which was actually quite intense when you don't know what's going on. So all of these aspects coming through from karmic aspects, karmic timelines, we could call them, where there's a lot of karma to heal, and then also timelines that were much higher frequency. We identify them in our process. Some of the higher frequency timelines, this is infinite, but some of the ones I've identified for myself are Pleiadian, Arcturian, what we call golden earth or fifth dimensional. There's many others. Syrian tends to be a higher dimensional timeline. When you connect with a higher dimensional Metasoul, then you're really flooded with those frequencies. It really raises your consciousness to connect with them. So you have this yumminess coming in. I feel surrogacies happen. Just yesterday this happened for me with the Lemurian aspect of mine named Raina. And she's like this wise woman, just very feminine, loving energy. And I laid in her lap probably an hour and a half yesterday, just soaked in her energy. So there's that spectrum of it, and then there's the karmic spectrum of it, which is more, again, the perpetrator or the victim. And I've certainly had those as well, and many of them. And I share a lot about this in my awakening to this in my book called Keep Waking Up, and also my recent book, Blissness. I share of my process the last 6 months. Most of my process now, when I have one, is about the Metasoul and integrating Metasoul aspects. And this is after many years of working with 3D aspects of myself too. So in our process, we start people really focused on the 3D aspects of their being, such as the inner teenager, the 3D protector, the inner mother and father, and the inner punisher, and the inner child. And then that flows out to the Metasoul. Sometimes the Metasoul weaves in a little bit, especially if you're quite awakened and those things are already bleeding through. Then the protector and the gatekeeper might be kind of merged together in certain ways. There can be what I call a span. It is kind of challenging to describe these things. It's much easier to understand if it's applied to you personally. So if you had a session, an intro session, then one of us could feel this out with you a bit more. Most people have to, I believe, start with the 3D protector to get access to the higher dimensional gatekeeper, to then get access to the Metasoul. And then it's much more authentic too to me. And it's not bypassing anything. It's really going, it's negotiating your way there with the parts of you that need that negotiation. Without the negotiation, I feel like things are bypassed or transcended. Often it's the gatekeeper energy and Metasoul aspects maybe bleeding through that are doing, for example, the spiritual teaching or the healing. And I think you can feel this with some teachers and healers. You can feel the karmic stuff that hasn't been addressed yet, and it plays out in abuses and shadow playouts and all kinds of things, which I myself have experienced as well this life. So for me, it's really important to keep doing the karmic healing work with my Metasoul aspects, and in order to clean up what I'm offering and where I'm teaching from. So where I wanted to go here with my own process is that what I feel now is that the Metasoul itself is a form of gatekeeper, my Metasoul. And each sister that awakens, that I've connected with, we start forming this circle together. And we're more and more unified. And this is happening with Gabriel, Kalena, and Raphael as well, where they're experiencing this Metasoul unification, which is really amazing, because that's fractals that, here's the higher self and the Metasoul, and it fractaled off, right? Because that's what we chose. And you're actually gathering those pieces and bringing them back together in this dimensional frequency. So there's a lot of power there that you access. Maybe this is kind of a form of soul retrieval, like in shamanic practices. I know I have a strong shamanic timeline and aspects of myself. So sometimes I'm just weaving in things from my soul, calling them something else. But the core of it, just like with the 3D parts, is parts work, essentially, is connection with these aspects leading to unification. And that's the whole point of all of this. So I'm going to link to an article about gatekeepers. So you can take that in and see if it resonates for you. I've had people really resonate with this writing and feel like, wow, I really get this, and I feel this inside of myself. And you may not even understand why. It may just be a feeling inside that of the gatekeeper saying, thank you for recognizing me. So this aspect of the Metasoul is so important. It's really the bridge, and that's what I experience now is an aspect that I call Bridget, who I finally put together recently. Is not the gatekeeper of my Metasoul anymore. She's a bridge. She helps me let in especially higher vibrational frequencies when I struggle, when parts of me struggle to be that high, to vibrate that high, and to let in that much love. She helps me with that, and I believe she helps kind of direct where we're going to go next as well. So, yeah, I hope this kind of perked your curiosity to get to know this aspect of your Metasoul, and there's certainly worth the time and the effort for what they reveal to you along the way, with lots and lots of love. So, thank you for taking this in today, and I will see you in the next video.